Hello everybody. Today I thought I would play with some of my baby craft design package for this month. And I have these bamboo bag handles in 3 different sizes. So I'm not going to use the big one, so it's a toss up between these two. I've got a feeling I'll go for the smaller one. And then if that works out, then I can make another one with the larger one. I just think these might be just a little bit too big. They might be nice in a different style. I'm just going with the basic style because I've never done a bag like this before, so I can get more elaborate with the bigger ones at a later stage. So I think I'm going to go for the smaller ones, and I'm just going to measure them. And they are a 6-inch handle. What's that one? That one's a 7-inch handle. So this one's 6 inches. So we'll put the other 2 away. And I have some paper here to draw a pattern for myself. Oh, sorry, got the hiccups. I do tend to get 1 or 2 hiccups every so often. I'm not drinking. I've done it all my life. I just get 1 or 2 hiccups and then they're gone. So make sure you can see. Make sure I can see that you can see. I don't have a huge space here, but okay. So we want to, because it's a 6-inch handle, I'm thinking we want it halfway up, so I'm going to come down 3 inches. Just let me get a pencil. I'll just make a mark at 3 inches there. And I'm going to do it like on the fold there. And I'm thinking 3 inches in here, like that. I'm just going to put some marks to get the right curve. I don't want it not having the right curve. I'll put some on that side too, I think. Okay, so this here, this can be my cutting line here. That will be the sewing, stitching line around there. So that's the handle. Now I don't want it going straight across either. I quite like the idea of a bit of a slope on it. I might have to start coming out a little bit more. Okay, I was just a little bit worried about a seam allowance on the top, but that doesn't matter because you don't have to have the fabric coming up exactly halfway. It can come up a little bit less than that, so that's fine. Okay, now that I've thought about that. Now, what I thought was, from looking on Pinterest, I looked at a few wooden handle bags. They come in all different sizes and shapes that you can make. And the one that I sort of, the bag that I thought looked nice to me was one that was the size of, I think it was 1.5 times the handle onto the depth plus the base. Let me see if I can explain that to you. So that's 6, so we want 6 plus 3, which is 1.5 times. So we want 9 inches. I'll work in inches from the seam line here. Plus we need a 2-inch base, which will actually be 4 inches because this will be doubled. So that will be the bag, and then under the bag we need another 2 inches plus seam allowance. So I'm going to allow probably 1/2 inch seam allowance. I don't know. We usually do like 1.5 centimeters in metric, so that looks about right. So that will be the base, and that will be that. Base there. That stitching line there, because I'll have to join 2 pieces of fabric together. Oh, I hope my fabric's big enough. I never even thought of that. We may have to adjust this a little bit after all this. That will be the cutting line of the bag. Now I want, what did I think? I was probably the same width-wise. So 1, maybe 9 across. And so I don't know if you can see, I'm just measuring 9 across here to give me an idea. Like that. I may bring it in a little bit more than that. And as I said, I do not want it going straight across. I don't want the bag going straight across. I want it kind of coming down on an angle. So let's just do that. And then that's the base. And I want that coming down on a slight angle as well. Not too much, but I like the idea of it. Well, hang on. First of all, we have to remember there's going to be a base on it. So 2.5, I said. So our angle has to go to that part there. Like that. And then this should be like that. So that goes across like that, and we'll have a seam allowance there, and a seam allowance here, and up here as well. Join here. Join here, and that's the fold. Here. So we will be cut 2 and cut 2 of the lining as well. And that hopefully should work. It's alright, I'm thinking about it as I'm talking in my head, and I'm trying to picture it. So I need to get my fabric and see what size it is. Because I've got some fabrics from BB Craft. Okay. I will also need to interface, because I don't want the bag being too floppy. Let's see what, see, that's a good size. I'm going to have plenty. Oh, that's wonderful. May even be able to, oh look, I'll be able to do it that way and save on a bit of fabric as well. Oh, wonderful. But it, hang on. I may get one piece out of, let me have a look. Fold this in half and see if I can get one piece out of one side of the bag. Oh, I can. Oh, that's wonderful. That's better still. Lovely. Now I have to decide what fabric I'll be making. Yeah. What fabric I'll be choosing for this bag. So, oh, I like that one. I do like that one. That one's quite nice. That one's fun, isn't it? So, there's that one, that one, that one. There's that one. That one. And that one. I would use a lighter one inside for the lining of the bag. And a darker one outside, although, let me think. Alright, I'm going to stare at them for a little while and think, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm thinking this one, we'll go with that one. And because it has this a little bit of orangey colour and also has the teal colour in it. See that? Those colours go quite well together. So I think I will use that one for the first bag I make and keep it very basic. Because like I said, I haven't done it before. And yes, I will need two, and I do have 2 packs of this fabric from Baby Craft, so that's okay. So that will be the first one, and I think for the second one I make, I will probably, and it will be slightly bigger, but not too much bigger, because I still want to fit it into the fabric. I'm thinking I like this. I'm thinking those 2 perhaps. There's also this one, isn't there? But I wanted to do like 2 colours on the outside. Which I can if I just use 2 colours anyway. I can add a bit of the lighter colour to the outside, and and that be the main colour, and then add a bit of this to the outside and also use it for the lining. I think that will work. So that will be the second bag. Or would that one be better? No, it's a bit too playful, that one. So, and then these ones I'll use for a different project down the line somewhere. So I'll just pop these back together so I know what I'm not using. Using that. Need to cut this out. Oh, hello. I have a little visitor here. Whoops. Keep moving, sweet pea. You've got bits stuck to you. I'll be back. Okay, it doesn't seem that the fabric is wide enough for my pattern. See how I have it coming out on an angle like that? So I'm just going to make it straight for this first bag. When I make the second bag, because it will be 2 different colours, I'll split the pattern. I'll have more fabric to play with that one. But with this one, and it is just like my practice run, I guess you could say, being the first one, I'm just going to make the bags straight. So I'm going to go ahead and get the extra fabric and cut them out, and then I'll be back. Alright, so I cut the fabric pieces out. I've got 2 in the lighter and 2 in the darker, and I've cut some interfacing out. It's iron-on interfacing. I can't tell you exactly what it is because I've had it for years and years. It's quite a good thick one for bag making. So I'm going to go ahead and iron this on the blue, on that dark outside fabric. I'll go and iron this on, and then I'll come back and we'll put it all together. So the interfacing is all ironed on now. I did trim it down a little bit so that I could iron it on properly. You can see I just trimmed it a bit smaller than the actual fabric just to make it easier to iron on. There's a few age spots on the interfacing because, like I said, it's very old. What I'm going to do now is sew along the bottom and join them together. So I'm going to sew the 2 front pieces together and the 2 lining pieces together across the base, across here, just so that it's one big piece like that. And then I will be back. And I'm going to do that on probably a 2.5 stitch on my sewing machine. So that has been done. That's the lining piece there. And this is the outer piece here. And I did watch a couple of videos on doing wooden handled bags, and I'll probably put links to those in the description box below. They kind of had a straight shape, but you know, the basic making of bags is very similar. So what I need to do now is attach around here. I need to sew them both together around the, I was going to say the neck, because I'm thinking of a garment and it looks like a garment. Around where the handle goes, I need to, I'll just put it on my lap and bend it this way. I think that might be easier. Okay, like that. So I need to get that slightly like that. I'm doing 1.5 centimetre seam allowances, which is about 1/2 inch. I think that it's like, that's what you do when you're like in dressmaking and things like that. I have made the lining slightly smaller, just so it doesn't go to the outside, but rather pulls to the inside. So I've stitched that. Now I need to just clip the inside of the circle here. Probably trim that down a bit. You know, I love sewing clothes and things like that, but I don't have the setup for it. My room's more set up for crafting, and when you're making small things, that's fine, but when you're making large things like that, you certainly notice it. So I need to put the rings on now. Where are they? Okay, so putting both rings on up that end, like that, and then I'm going to stitch this side together now and do exactly the same sort of thing, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. They're the things I've done at the other end as well, and so now I move one to the other end. So we've got them both in the right direction, and then I have to do the side seams now. So we're doing the linings first, and I need to leave a gap in the lining to pull the bag through, but the gap has to be big enough for the handle to go through. So it's a 6-inch handle, so I need I'm going to make it probably about 6.5. So what I'm going to do is I gotta I don't know if that has any, maybe there, 2, about there. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave my gap. Oh my, no room for big things. So I'm going to leave a gap, so I'm going to stitch from here to that pink line. I'm going to do a back stitch on both ends of it, and then I'm going to come down here, do a little back stitch, and sew right to the end there. I'm going to do that all the way around. Well, I'm going to do that on both sides of the lining, but that's the only one I'll have to need to leave a gap for. All the others I'm just going to stitch straight down. I'll do the lining, and then I'll do the outer fabric as well, and then I'll be back. So that's done now. I've done the lining down that side, the lining down this side with a gap in it to pull things through, and I've done down this side of the outside piece. Now I need to do the bottom of the bag. And what you have to do is open it up like that, and open the side piece up like that, and kind of squash them like that, forming a triangle. See, I've got the seam there and the seam there. Okay, that might be a bit easier. I don't want to crease the outside fabric too much, because I want it to have a fairly sharp appearance once it's done. So I'm just trying to get that and that the same. Let me just put a clip on that so I know, and yeah, that looks fairly good there. And I want to mark off 2 inches, so from the corner, which is right there. Just going to use a pencil for this. 2 inches there, and 2 inches there, and I just need to stitch across there, stitch across there on all 4. So on 2 of the outer linings, which is this one I'm doing now, and the same on the inside. That will give us a flat bottom, more sturdy base. So a helpful hint is when you're sewing your seams, don't go right to the end. because if you go right to the end, you can't open up these bag corners. That's why that kind of made those on the other fabric a little bit difficult, because I could not open up the seams properly, because you want your seams when you open them up to make your bottom of your bag. Oh, I can get it open. Here we go. You want to separate the seams here, and let me get my hand in. If you can make it like that, makes it a lot easier. See how my seams are going like that now? And then you're pretty well, it's much easier to get them lined up properly. Alright, so they're done, and now I'm just going to trim those corner pieces off. Okay, on all 4 corners. Like that, and also up here. See how it's puckered there? That's because I didn't realize that I shouldn't have stitched past the corner, but that's how we learn, isn't it? Okay, last one here, and this one, see, I unpicked a little bit, and see how nicely that sits. So I think I'll write all these steps down for my own information, so when I make the next one I don't make the same mistakes. Okay, now we have to turn it through. Just finding a few loose threads there. So we find our opening that we made here, and we just, I guess, we just pull everything through carefully. I don't want to break the seam. So I made a mistake. I wasn't meant to pull the bag through yet. I need to do the top part near the handles. So there's the handle, there's the curve, and it's like a little shoulder part, you could say. And we need to stitch the lining to the outer fabric. So you get your side seams lined up, open up the seams. And I'll have to give it a good press when I'm finished, because you know, you really shouldn't be turning them in and out too often when they've got the thick interfacing on them. Then go to near the handle and get the seams lined up there as well, and pin it. I'm just using these little pins because they do make it easy. And then get your seam and put another one in the center there, and the same on this side here. I've already got one there. I'm just lining up this seam here, putting a little pin, and one in the center there. Like I said, it's a bit of a trial for me, this bag. I have made a few bags in the past, different styles, but never one with a handle inserted like this, so it's a learning process. Okay, so now what I have to do, and I've already pinned the other side, now I have to stitch, come down. I don't start right up there near the edge of the fabric. I'm going to start there. That way I can fold the fabric back like that. So I'm going to come down my seam allowance and then go across and back up the other side. I want to get as close to the handle as possible. So I want to sort of start, perhaps I need something to, okay. So there's my seam there, but I want to start about here. And I'm going to, this one because it's my design, and I kind of went like that and like that. If you're going straight across, you would go from there and straight across. So I'm going like that and then pivoting and going down. I'm going to try and get as close as I can. I probably won't get in that far though because of the sewing machine foot. I'll probably have to start about here, and then that will work itself out when we turn everything through. So starting there, I think, and going straight down and then straight back up, and the same on the other side, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Now that I've stitched those, I'm just, see where the handles go through? I've just folded that down. One of the ladies in one of the tutorials I saw suggested doing that just with a little tacking stitch or something. So let me see if I've got any. Okay, we've got a bit of thread here. No, we don't. Okay, let me thread a needle up. I have my lovely threads from BB Craft. I might use their blue thread, blue or white? Maybe white. Here we go. All these lovely sewing threads come in very useful because there's so many different colours. And so I'm just going to put a couple of little stitches to keep that folded down there. It's funny, I watched a couple of different tutorials, and although they're very similar, you know, you pick up differences and then you add little bits of your own as well, because the shape of mine's a little bit different, I found. I didn't want it just a square, so I'm just going to come in here, and I'm just going to take a couple of little stitches here just to keep the fold down. And then knot it off. Hopefully that'll keep the fold down so that it's easier when I get to the other side. And I'm going to do that on all four, and then I'm going to turn it through again. It's going to be probably a bit of a wrinkly mess, but I'll try and iron it up as best I can once I'm done. So I'll come over here, and just where that is there, I will bring my thread through and so I pulled it all through. I've just clipped the seam near the handle there, but I've gone back and I need to just close the opening in the lining where we pulled it all through, and I'm just going to slip stitch that close. I could throw it under the sewing machine to do that, but after pulling it through again, like, there's no elegant way to do that, you know. It's it always seems so rough when you're pulling a bag through like that. So I need a little bit of hand stitching, I think, just to calm me down a bit. My bag's all wrinkly. I hope I can iron it nicely again. So I'm just going to stitch this closed inside however way you wish. It's not something you really see, like, even though it's on the side seam, because it's got a quite a fussy pattern on the fabric, you would never really see it at all. So you could quite easily machine stitch it together. But like I said, I just feel like doing a little bit of hand sewing at the moment. I'm glad I put those little tacking stitches in near the handles there, because I noticed after I turned it through and I was folding this part here down, it really did make a difference. It kept its position nicely. So that was a very handy hint. And that's something that I will try and remember for future. Making the other a wooden handle bag. So I'll stitch this up. I've just unthreaded my needle. And then I'll be back. Alright, so that's all stitched up now. You can barely see it. I'll pop that back inside. And what I've done is I've just clipped these seams like that. And I need to stitch and I could stitch all the way around here as well. I'll have to get the right colour thread. So instead of making a small top stitch there, I think I'm going to do like come down 1/2 inch, or you know, almost an inch perhaps, maybe 1/2 inch there, and then run it around under here and then back down. I think that might be nice. That stops the handle falling down too far as well. I'll have to pin it all to do that. I think. Okay, pin. Let's see what it looks like. And there, like that. Yes. Okay, I'll have to find some navy blue thread and white. I could do just navy blue, I think, because the inside has navy blue on it anyway. Let me go and thread this up, and I'll stitch. I'll probably put a larger stitch on for that though, perhaps a 3.5 or 3 and a bit, just so it doesn't pull too tight. Alright, so I did my handles. As you can see, it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. My machine has a bolt on it that gets in the way, so I think when I make the next one, I might do that by hand, just like a canvas stitch or something like that, a decorative embroidery type of stitch. Perhaps that would work better, because I couldn't get any closer due to the fact that I've got a bolt on the side of my foot, so that was a bit disappointing, but I'm quite happy. It is finished. I'm just going to go and press it now, and then I'll show you what it looks like once it's pressed. I'm just making a little false bottom for the inside, just to give it a little bit more sturdiness. So I've cut a piece of I don't think it's chipboard, but it's really thick cardstock. I've just cut a piece to size to fit the base of the bag, and I'm just covering it in a bit of the leftover fabric, and I'm putting a little bit of glue, and then I'm going to put a stitch around it as well. And this is just a type of tacky glue I'm using to hold it down. Need a little bit more. It's because of the weather, it's drying very quickly. that and like that. And then I'm just going to sew around the edge of it. So it's done, and I've pressed it. It pressed up quite well, considering how crumpled it was before. That the fabric is really nice to work with. I've had fabric from BB Craft before and really enjoyed using it, and it washes up beautifully. So it's quite a, it's a nice quality fabric. It is a cotton fabric too, and it does sew up really nicely. The bag itself was a little bit more tricky than what I thought. You look at it and you think, well, that's easy, and it is easy, but the wooden handles do make it a little bit more difficult. But like I said, if I make the one, okay, where's my handles gone? Oh. If I make another bag with the medium size handles, I'll do it in a different type of style, I think, and perhaps do some hand stitching, just so I can get in a little bit better around the handle. But really, for my first try at using wooden handles, I'm quite pleased with it. I will use the bag. It'll be very useful for things. And I have a different set of wooden handles to play with as well. So I think I will use that one next to see how we go. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope it wasn't all over the place. I've used the fabric from BB Craft. I've used the handles from BB Craft. I also used the threads. Must put that back as well. From BB Craft as well. I'm glad I put the little false bottom in the bottom there. I just think it gives it, a bit more structure. And I am glad that I did the angled sides there as well, rather than going straight out. It's bigger than what I thought it would be, so that's something to keep in mind. That is 2.5 times it's 1.5 times actually from the base of the handle. So if you wanted a smaller bag, just think about that. And it's 1.5 widths of the handle. So, but it will be very useful, and it's all fully lined, so that's always nice as well. So thank you so much for watching, and take care everybody, and thank you BB Craft for these lovely products. Bye. I'll see if I can take better photos of it and put it on the screen now. Take care.